So it's a bit past Christmas at the time of recording this. January 10th, it would be. Or before Christmas, I guess, since it's the beginning of the year. But I did want to cover this. It's from our friend Brian Holdsworth, who we've covered a couple times before. Catholic apologist, the works, just religious content, whatever. And it says, what not to do at Christmas tide. I don't know about, I've never heard of Christmas tide. Does he mean time, Christmas time? I'm not sure. But anyway, we're going to cover this because I'm interested in seeing what he has to say about what we ought not to do at Christmas time.
Well, Merry Christmas and
Merry
Happy
Christmas.
St. Stephen's
Belated
Day
Merry
for those
Christmas.
of you who recognize his feast day today. Today is the day after Christmas, the day after the dam has burst and all the feasting and celebration has poured forth. And if I'm being totally honest,
he's got all those buttons.
I had a bit of trepidation, some apprehension as we approached this time of feasting and this great season of celebrating the nativity of the Lord. And the reason for that is because I often don't feast well. I don't fast very well either, but I give it my best effort, and I understand the purpose, and I experience the good benefit of seasons of fasting. But feasting is one of those things that I don't think we do well as a culture because we are so heated.
Imagine being like, I am very, very good at making myself miserable. Like what? Fasting is literally just making yourself miserable. The point of a fast, in most cases, there's like a few cases where you can consider it a fast, but usually when people talk about fasts, they're talking about purposeful fasts. Like, I'm not eating for dietary reasons, or I'm not eating for religious reasons, things like that. So where was I going with this? I forget. Oh, I was saying, imagine making a video about like, I'm really good. Dude, I'm just so good at being sad because I can't eat. I'm so good at it.
Hedonistic and so
I'm so good at not eating
as a society that it's hard not to fall prey to those more secular patterns of thinking and acting.
Unless you're this guy.
As Christmas came upon us and as we woke up this morning, a little fatigued, a little weary, I admit.
Ladies, just let me ask you this. Ladies, would you rather have a faster or a feaster? Come on now, let's really think about this.
That, I spent some time thinking and praying about this question. Lord, I don't want to fall prey to unhealthy feasting. I don't want to lose all the benefit of the season of Advent, which for our family was a time of withdrawal and self-denial and fasting.
That sounds miserable.
I want to retain those good benefits. And so as I was thinking and praying about it, I feel like I got some insights that I wanted to jump down here.
Listen, I agree you should have some self-restraint, but like, fasting is not necessary for most people most of the time. If you're on a diet, intermittent fasting can help you lose some weight, but that's about it really. And even then you're still suffering. Like, most people who are fasting are suffering, and there's really no benefit unless you're trying to lose weight. Like, that is the one benefit of fasting.
Really quick
or if you have a medical procedure, you have to fast before colonoscopies.
Share with you in the hope that they will benefit you as well. So the first thing that came to mind for me was that these seasons of feasting are not a vacation from our disciplines. This isn't a time off in which we are no longer expected by our own nature or by God or by divine or natural law to simply avoid and ignore the disciplines, the habits that produce virtues in us, and that reinforce those virtues if we've managed to.
Everybody needs a break from everything, okay? You need a break. I've been eating piss poor for the most part, I need a break from that, even though I find the taste of greasy food quite yummy in my tummy, okay? I love chicken nuggies from McDonald's. I would eat pizza every night if my biology would allow it. Except I wouldn't, because I would very quickly find out, well, gee, and I think I've literally done this before. I think everybody has, where you just eat the same thing over and over and over again, and you're finally like, okay, this is my favorite food, but I actually need a break from this. Like, you need a break from everything. I think that should include religiosity. Just take a break from being a Christian for like one day. You might discover something inside of yourself.
To attain them,
breaks are great.
We don't ignore those and then abandon the good character that has been developed in us through those habits, because those disciplines aren't they're not an imposition that we kind of resent, like
Lesbian
going
feaster,
to work
nice.
is. For some of us, they are what produce our blessedness, produce eudaimonia, according to Aristotle, or
What?
beatitude, for the supernatural virtues. They are what make us happy, what make us joyful, what make us come alive. And if we were
I will cede that there is freedom in restraint, because you are not truly free if you are constantly in a state of chaos. You know, that's not freedom. That is just unrelenting chaos and destruction. You know, like if you're constantly indulging in your own self-interest at the expense of your health, that's not freedom. That's sometimes that's addiction. You know, so I will cede to him that there is certainly a place for structure in your life. You know, but like, first of all, I never said there's not, and second, like, that being the case, or that being said, the structure that what I'm trying to say is the structure that religion demands of you has no practical benefit. You know, it's not like, hi, baby, do you have things to say? Hello. You're distracting me. I'm probably going to forget what I was saying. Hello, baby. Hello, baby. Sorry, I did forget what I was saying. Is your cat a leftist? Probably. What do you think? Are you a leftist? She told me she is.
Were to abandon them, it would be to kind of treat them almost with a certain kind of contempt. It would be to treat goodness itself with contempt, as these.
The point, that was a very long-winded way of saying you need some structure in your life, but religion does not provide a decent structure for your life.
These are the paths to goodness. And so as we embrace feasting, we also need to recognize that the disciplines that we have built up in our lives, or perhaps have built up during time of the rigors of the periods of fasting, like during Advent or Lent, those good disciplines need to be preserved and encouraged also during the time of feasting. The second thing that came to mind for me was that this season, similarly to that first principle, is not a time in which we are given license to indulge in vices. This isn't a time in which we can embrace, gluttony and laziness. This is a time in which...
Wait. Winter is literally about gluttony and laziness. Like, there's a whole meme about animals hibernating and like eating a fuck ton of food and sleeping all winter. Like, winter is the time to do that, to indulge, to be a little lazy, to stay inside, to get warm and a little chunky maybe, have some food. That is the time to, and this is, I feel like this is like just human nature, personally. I feel like this goes way back to tradition. Like, this returns to monkey type shit. Like, it's just natural. You slow down in the cold. When it's wintertime, that's the time to be a little gluttonous and be a little lazy.
Our attitude is adjusted into a more of a joyous celebration, but it doesn't mean we can go from virtue to vice. That's not the contrast between
you need a little vice in your life.
Liturgical seasons of fasting to liturgical seasons of feasting. It's not like we're suddenly given permission to neglect our responsibilities or to overindulge in food and drink and drunkenness and all these other things that might be tempting us during this time. It's no longer a time of fasting, so it is a time in which we can embrace celebratory affairs, in which we can indulge in drink.
I thought this was going to be honest. I thought this was going to be about, like, for some reason my brain went to like what not to do with your family at Christmas time, or like, things that, like, presents that you shouldn't get for your family. This is like very boring in comparison, I must say.
And good food within certain reasonable measure, which we couldn't do during our time of fasting, but it doesn't mean we can overindulge and become gluttonous and fat and drunk in the process. So simply put,
it's fine to be fat and drunk.
Be measured.
Sometimes.
Maintain the boundaries of virtue, neither deficiency nor excess. Stay within those boundaries and continue to cultivate your good virtue. The last thing I would say is that
even in winter, there are boundaries that you should stay within, but I would imagine that this guy is communicating a much more strict boundary, which I just think is unnecessary personally. It's fine to let yourself go a little bit, especially in the wintertime. It's not a big deal.
That times of celebration, times of feasting are times of leisure, but leisure according to
There's
the
times of
contemporary
leisure.
wisdom
What?
of the society that we live in, or the conventional wisdom, it is thought of as idleness, right? I go to work, I exhaust
That
all
is
my energy,
true.
and then I come home.
I think honestly that brings up an interesting discussion. Is leisure the same thing as idleness? And the answer is no. But some people do equate those two things, because a lot of people, this would speak, I think that this would be a good thing to analyze, because like that would speak to a crazy work culture. Like if I'm not at work, then I'm, what's the word again? Leisure. If I'm not at work, then I'm at my leisure, which means that I'm resting, which means that I'm idle, you know? So I could see that, but that's not where this guy's going, because he's an idiot.
Right? I go to work, I exhaust all my energy, and then I come home and I become idle. I watch Netflix, I scroll on my phone, I do nothing. That's not what good leisure is. Leisure is an activity. It's a time of doing. It's a time of prayer. It's a time
Ideally,
of study. It's a time of hobbies. It's a time of spending time with friends in good company.
The thing is, I kind of agree with him here. I kind of agree, but you're not going to analyze that deeper and be like, you know what? We could take this to learn something about our work culture and how that has propagated the idea that leisure is the time where you're not working and not doing anything else. You have work and you have rest. If you have your leisure time, that's rest time. When leisure time is not supposed to be rest time, it is supposed to be learning a new language or building up a new activity or finding a new hobby. You know, when I'm at my leisure, I like to crochet things sometimes. And I should have the energy and the time to be able to invest in that. But a lot of people simply don't because of our work culture. This is such good material, and this guy's such an idiot that he can't he would never think of this. I don't know. Am I making sense? This is such a good talking point to discuss, but he's so stupid that he frames it in this stupid religious context, and it's not good.
Leisure is not idleness. The human soul is never meant for idleness. It is meant for rest at certain periods of time.
He's got a point.
And the most restful thing you can do is not scroll on social media, which is actually quite exhausting. That's actually a kind of a work in itself, because you're constantly reading and scanning and doing a kind of busyness. True leisure is a time of receptivity to the good of the universe and of the world, to God himself, to contemplation and prayer. Those are the kinds of things that we should be doing during our leisure time.
Why does God have to be part of it? The last thing I want to say too,
which relates to the second principle, was that this contrast between fasting and feasting. When we are fasting, we're not fasting from sin and evil. We're fasting from things that are permitted, right? We're withdrawing and denying ourselves sometimes things that are objectively good.
That's stupid.
For the sake of our own virtue and cultivation, to strengthen our resolve, right? Because overindulgence in things that are good for us, for those of us who are fallen, can lead us astray, right? So we develop our own habits of virtue and good character.
Right, so instead of fasting from those things, just have some self-restraint, you know? It's not, fasting is not self-restraint, okay? That is just depriving yourself of something good for no reason. True self-restraint is being able to say, you know what? I've had too much candy, I need to stop now, okay? Or I've been slacking off for 2 hours, I have a report due tomorrow, it is time to get back to work. That's restraint, okay? Being able to say no to that next League of Legends match, if you're one of those idiots who still plays that, because it'll take 40 minutes and you're just going to continue the cycle of addiction and never get anything done. That's restraint. But it's not restraint to just deprive yourself of things that you enjoy doing for no reason other than God told me to. I think that's silly.
Character by denying ourselves of those things in anticipation of the greater reward that will be to come. That's the principle at play here. That's what the Christian life is all about. It's about denying ourselves now so that we will gain a greater reward to come.
I will say, one area in life that it does work for is masturbation. Okay? If you can, I guess, quote unquote, fast from masturbation for a good solid week, I guess everybody's different, but for me, it'd be a good solid 4 to 7 days. That pays off in dividends. Okay? That is an experience, So I will say, in that manner, in that area, I suppose I can understand the value of fasting, but that's about it, really. Besides that, and weight loss and medical procedures, that's about it.
Hedonism, and vice, and the life that is attached to the world, the flesh, and the devil is one that says, get your reward now, because there's no promise of getting it tomorrow. There's no hope of getting it tomorrow. So get it now while it's available to you. And what we do is we become enslaved by this tendency to constantly seek out the good, or the good pleasure now, or the happiness that is fleeting, the treasures of this world. And of course, prayer is what inspires all of this. So as we transition from this time of feasting, this time of fasting towards feasting, we need to ensure that prayer is with us every step of the way, that we don't abandon our practices of prayer, and that we constantly seek God's graces to help us understand how to live within the patterns of the great liturgical life of the church. So I hope that's helpful for you. I hope you are able to.
So he's saying what not to do at Christmas time, which I assume he means Christmas time. I've never heard of Christmas tide. I don't think that's a thing. What he's saying not to do is not feast too much. I get, but that's stupid. Like, you're just telling people things that they already know. It's like, he doesn't define what too much is. He's just like, well, don't feast against God's wishes. God doesn't want you to do that, so don't. But it's like, okay, at what point does he consider it feasting then? Like, when do I stop? When I have a very simple answer. You stop when it becomes unhealthy for you, okay? Ideally. I can't make you. If you want to keep eating, sure. But you should stop because it's unhealthy for you. Like, that'd be a good stopping point. But even, drinking is unhealthy for you regardless. So, I still drink. So, maybe not even stop when it's unhealthy for you. Just stop before it becomes a dangerous level of unhealthy. Like a reasonable level of unhealthy. That's my answer to it. I don't know. I just didn't get anything from this video. I think it was stupid.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more, hit the notification bell to be notified when I upload. If you enjoy my content, you enjoy what I do, I really appreciate any financial help that I can get. Go to youtube.com/AlecGunterTTV/join. You got some awesome benefits, such as seeing early videos, awesome emotes that you can use in the comments of YouTube videos, and a sweet badge next to your name. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'd really appreciate if you join. It is cheaper than the cost of a blowjob from your mom. So with all that being said, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.